Picture this. A dream so specific, so personal, that fans assumed it could never leave the imagination of the people who carried it. For years it existed only as an idea, something too ambitious to say out loud in public. And then, in the summer of 2026, it stopped being an idea. It stepped out onto real ice, under real lights, in front of real people, and it became something no one could take back. Just 6 months earlier, 2 Japanese athletes had stood on the highest podium in the sport, holding gold medals that no Japanese pair team had ever held before. Now they were back on the ice. But this time, they weren't chasing a score. Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara. Fans simply call them Riku Ryu, a nickname that's followed them through years of competitions, setbacks, and slow, steady breakthroughs. At the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics, they made history as the first Japanese pair skating team to win gold, and in doing so, they gave their country one of the most emotional moments in its figure skating history. Millions watched that performance, many of them in tears before the final pose even landed. That should have been the peak. The final chapter, the kind of ending most athletes would happily settle for. Instead, it became the opening scene of something entirely new. Because Miura and Kihara didn't want to simply relive their triumph. They wanted to give it away. So they built a show. Not just performed and won, but conceived it, shaped it, and produced it themselves, from the ground up, down to details most performers never think twice about. They called it the Destiny, and they brought it to life at Tokyo's Ryogoku Ice Arena, in a production unlike anything Japanese fans had seen before. Stay with this story, because the choices they made behind the scenes turn out to be far stranger and far more deliberate than you'd expect from 2 first-time producers. But before we get to opening night, rewind to the final rehearsal. The lights are up. The ice is empty except for the people who spent months imagining what would eventually fill it. And the atmosphere, according to everyone who was there, was electric. Equal parts nerves, anticipation, and something that looked a lot like joy. Every step on that ice carried the weight of a decision made weeks or months earlier. Every formation was the product of arguments, compromises, and second-guessing that most audiences will never see. Watching it come together, one thing became obvious. This wasn't just another exhibition. This was personal. And the closer opening night got, the more that pressure seemed to sharpen into something that looked almost like calm. After the rehearsal wrapped, Riku Miura stepped forward and said something that ended up defining the entire project. She hoped that everyone, whether they were sitting inside the arena or watching through a screen thousands of miles away, would feel the same excitement at the exact same moment. Not as spectators, as participants. That single wish tells you almost everything about what the Destiny was built to be. Competitive skating runs on judgment. Every second is scored. Every mistake has consequences, tracked and tallied by panels of officials watching for the smallest error in an edge or a landing. But an ice show plays by different rules entirely. There's no podium waiting at the end, no ranking posted the moment the music stops. The only goal is connection, the kind that lingers with an audience long after the final bow, long after the lights come back up and everyone heads home. And if there was one word Miura and Kihara kept returning to in interview after interview, it wasn't victory. It wasn't legacy. It was enjoyment. They wanted their fellow skaters to enjoy it. They wanted the crew backstage to enjoy it. They wanted every single person watching, near or far, to walk away smiling. It sounds like a simple wish, almost too simple for a show this ambitious, but that idea became the heartbeat of the entire production, quietly shaping every decision that followed. Now here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Most major ice shows around the world revolve around single skaters. It makes sense on paper. Solo jumps are flashy, dramatic, and easy to market to a general audience who might not know the sport well. But pair skating and ice dance, disciplines that demand a level of trust and synchronization most people can barely comprehend, often get pushed to the background, treated as a supporting act rather than the main event. Miura and Kihara decided to flip that entirely. The Destiny is built exclusively around pair skating and ice dance, with no exceptions carved out for the sake of variety. No single spotlight to compete for attention, no soloist stealing focus from the partnerships the show was actually designed to celebrate. Just two people moving as one, again and again, in every possible form the discipline allows. That decision alone makes this show historic within the skating world. But it gets bigger. The lineup reads like a highlight reel of Milano Cortina. Some of the very same Olympic medalists who competed on that Olympic ice are now skating together on this one, all in the same arena, on the same night. It's the kind of gathering that almost never happens outside of official competition, where rivals from different countries are usually separated by qualifying rounds and training schedules rather than sharing one program together. World-class athleticism meeting pure storytelling, night after night. And yet, ask anyone close to the production what truly sets the destiny apart, and they won't point to the lineup first. They'll point to the ice itself. Here's something most casual fans never think about. Many ice shows physically shrink their rinks. Producers push seating closer to the performers to create intimacy, which sounds appealing on a marketing brochure until you realize what it actually costs the performance itself. Less ice means less room to build speed. Less room for the sweeping patterns that define pair skating at its highest level. Less room for lifts that are supposed to travel across the surface, not just rotate in place for a tighter camera angle. Miura and Kihara refused that trade-off completely. They kept the full Olympic-sized rink, exactly as it would appear in official competition. No compromise. No shrinking. In an interview, Ryuichi Kihara called this decision maybe the single most important choice they made while designing the entire show. He wanted audiences to see pair skating exactly the way it's meant to be seen, not a scaled-down version built to flatter a smaller room. The real speed. The full sweep of a signature pattern. Lifts that cover real distance, not just a few feet of compressed space. Shrink the rink and you shrink the impact. So instead, they built the show around the ice, not the other way around. That single decision says more about their respect for the sport than almost anything else in this story. Rather than force the discipline to adapt to the venue, they adapted the venue to honor the discipline. And that same philosophy carried straight into their next major decision. One most audiences wouldn't think twice about, until it's explained to them. Lighting. Most ice shows lean into darkness. Dramatic spotlights slicing through a dim arena, colors shifting with the music, shadows doing half the storytelling. It's a proven formula. Miura and Kihara looked at that formula and chose the opposite. They wanted brightness. Natural, consistent lighting that keeps every detail visible from the first note to the final pose. Their reasoning was almost disarmingly simple. They wanted the audience to see everything. Every facial expression. Every glance a partner sends across the ice in a split second nobody else notices. Every precise edge cut into the surface. Every subtle shift in weight that dramatic lighting usually swallows whole. Pair skating lives in those tiny details. Trust, communication, timing so exact it borders on telepathy. Hide that behind theatrical shadows, and you lose the very thing that makes the discipline extraordinary in the first place. So they lit the ice instead of hiding it, refusing to let atmosphere come at the cost of clarity, and gave audiences a version of the sport that feels as intimate as it is spectacular. Now, here's the twist nobody saw coming. Somewhere in the middle of this carefully engineered, deeply respectful tribute to pair skating and ice dance, the destiny throws in baseball. Yes, baseball. On paper, it truly sounds like a total mismatch. Figure skating is glide and grace on frozen ice. Baseball is dirt, bats, and 9 innings under the sun. Two sports that share almost nothing, built around completely different rhythms of movement. And yet Miura and Kihara saw an opportunity in that exact contrast, the kind of unlikely pairing that sounds like a gamble until you actually see it performed. During rehearsal, performers stepped onto the ice in baseball-inspired jerseys, and the entire rink transformed. Gone, for a few minutes, was the elegance typically associated with competitive figure skating. In its place, color, comedy, and pure entertainment. Technical difficulty took a back seat to personality. The message was clear. Skating can be joyful too. So how did this idea even happen? According to Kihara, the concept started somewhere completely different. Early on, the production team wanted a routine that simply explained the differences between pair skating and ice dance to the audience. Straightforward, educational, almost. Then someone in the room asked a different question. Instead of explaining the differences, what if the two disciplines competed against each other? What if that difference became the entertainment, not the lesson? That single reframe changed everything. Friendly rivalry became the foundation. Baseball, with its built-in language of teamwork, strategy, and competition, became the perfect vehicle to carry that idea. And just like that, one of the show's signature performances was born out of a conversation that started as something completely different. Riku Miura remembers that moment with a smile. She recalls sitting in on the brainstorm when someone casually floated the idea of doing something baseball-themed. The room lit up almost instantly. Within a short time, that offhand comment had grown into a full performance piece, complete with custom costumes Miura describes as adorable, stylish, and perfectly matched to the playful tone they were chasing. It's a small behind-the-scenes detail, but it says something important. These are two Olympic champions who built their careers on relentless discipline and zero tolerance for shortcuts, on years of training that left little room for anything playful. And yet, somewhere along the way, they never lost the ability to just have fun with their sport. They understand something a lot of elite athletes forget once the medals start piling up. A performance isn't only measured by technical scores. Sometimes it's measured by how many people are smiling by the end of it, long after the scores have been forgotten. Of course, none of this came easily. Producing a show for the first time is a completely different challenge than training for one. Miura and Kihara suddenly had to think beyond their own performances entirely, beyond the version of success they'd spent their whole careers chasing. They were coordinating schedules with skaters flying in from around the world, reviewing choreography, debating music choices, fine-tuning lighting plans, approving costume designs, organizing rehearsal after rehearsal, working alongside a production team whose names never appear in the headlines but whose fingerprints are on every second of the show. Every meeting brought a new decision. Every solved problem revealed another one waiting behind it. This demanded a kind of patience and flexibility that competitive skating never asked of them. Winning an Olympic gold medal takes years of physical sacrifice and mental toughness. Producing an international ice show takes an entirely different skill set, one they'd never formally trained for. But they approached it the same way they approached every competition that came before it. No shortcuts, no cutting corners just because no judge was scoring the process. Just steady, relentless improvement, one rehearsal at a time, until the vision in their heads finally matched what was happening on the ice in front of them. Which brings us back to that final rehearsal. By the time Miura and Kihara stood at center ice for the last time before opening night, months of planning had finally converged into a single, tangible moment. Around them stood the skaters, the choreographers, the technicians, the musicians, and every staff member who had helped build this from nothing. It's hard to imagine what that felt like, standing there after months of decisions nobody else saw. Gratitude for everyone who believed in the project when it was still just an idea on paper. Excitement for what was coming next, for the audience that would finally get to see it. And underneath it all, the quiet confidence of two people who finally knew, without a doubt, that what they built actually worked. Their expressions said more than any interview ever could, more than any carefully worded quote given afterward. Every smile carried a trace of relief. Every glance toward the empty seats hinted at anticipation for the crowd that would very soon fill them completely. Every confident stride across the ice suggested they already knew, deep down, that something truly special was about to happen. Anyone in the stands that day could feel it too. This wasn't an ordinary rehearsal. It felt closer to witnessing the first heartbeat of a brand new tradition, the kind you only recognize as historic once enough time has passed to look back on it. No costumes yet. No packed arena. No roaring applause. And still, the emotion inside that building was completely unmistakable. There was a visible bond connecting every performer on that ice, built on shared respect, shared exhaustion, and one common goal they'd all been chasing separately until this project brought them together. And that bond quietly became the true engine behind the entire production. Instead of feeling like a string of separate performances stitched together, the Destiny plays like one continuous story, where every skater adds another thread to something larger than themselves. It celebrates partnership, not just between Miura and Kihara, but across the entire skating community that showed up to be part of this. Which brings us to the title itself. The Destiny. It's not just a name chosen for how it sounds. It points to the long, unpredictable chain of events that brought Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara together in the first place. The choices, the setbacks, the years of training that eventually turned two individual skaters into one of the most celebrated pairs in the world, and carried them all the way to Olympic gold. Looking back now, their journey almost feels inevitable, as if every step, every setback, every quiet sacrifice had been quietly leading toward this exact moment on this exact ice. But here's the part that makes this story worth telling in the first place. Their destiny no longer belongs only to the two of them. Through this show, they're inviting fellow athletes, longtime fans, and an entirely new generation of viewers to step into that story alongside them. Every performance on that Olympic-sized, brightly lit rink in Ryogoku pushes the journey a little further than it was the night before. And it proves something simple but powerful. The ending of one dream doesn't have to be the end of the story. Sometimes, it's just the beginning of a much bigger one, waiting for an audience willing to believe in it too.